know that's the Phoenix Wright sprite for Zelgadissan, but I'm not familiar with the one Illus is using, and we are off. $5,000 ruby reward if you're bored. Opening up our first chest to find an instant moon pearl.
Wow, so that keeps us on the lookout for things right off the bat here through the escape sequence.
And that was a super fast map check that I did not catch. And that's 3 crystals, 6 crystal on Eastern Palace. So we're going to go ahead and drop on into the escape sequence and pick up something from our uncle. I wonder what it's going to be. Oh, a sword.
Oh, how about that? It's a sword. Yep.
I wonder if we were assured of that or something. Alright, and we have a hammer!
Alright, what a seed to start. A couple of weapons, and getting actually pretty close to Dark World access. Haven't even gotten out of escape yet.
Yeah, we're 3 checks into this, and we are 2 out of our 3 pieces for potential Dark World access. And already a better weapon than our Uncle Assured sword. So we're probably going to see a few more hammer swings taken into this. Definitely a friendly early start for these runners, but we'll see what happens with the alt dungeons requirements. We could end up finding something that is required to clear a pendant dungeon inside Ganon's tower, which definitely puts things a little bit crazy.
Oh my gosh. What is all this convenience right here in the front loader at escape? 4 checks in, 4 items that are definitely needed to complete the game.
And that is a fire rod. Well, now the escape sequence is only guaranteed to give us like 1 weapon, but now let's just give him 3. As we pick up an 8 bomb drop off of that guard, so there will be no need for farming bombs for the rest of this early. What even is this start?
I hope it's not an omen for later on in this seed. It seems like if you get a lot of early items, you might be hunting for one in the end.
Well, as it is an all dungeon seed, we are definitely going to have to be hunting for that ice rod, which can definitely one of those items that can elude runners for what feels like millennia.
Yep, and with 3 crystals in the light world, I mean, pendant TR, that ice rod really could be anywhere before or after Ganon's tower.
Really just depends on how those crystals and pendants shake out in the Dark World as we finally find not a huge progression. I know we find just $1 there.
So Bungie, you've seen a lot of escape sequences, especially with standard mode. We had a standard tournament not too long ago. These runners are pretty evenly matched here for the first 3.5 minutes.
Well, when you hand them every weapon and the kitchen sink, I'd imagine the standard about 6-minute pace should easily be clearable with a hammer, a sword, a fire rod. There's everything they can need to clear through all of those enemies, including the true boss of the escape sequence, the Key Rat.
And I do believe these 2 racers, Illus and Zelgadissan, they had a really close race. Was it yesterday or not too long ago?
It was yesterday. It was within a minute of each other. Illus coming up just behind. I'm hoping to see another one as we are nearly synced going through this escape sequence. Go ahead and walking back in toward the throne room. See what other... I don't know if there are many treasures left for our runners to find in here, but wouldn't it be something to find that glove the moment we come out of Dark World? The moment on that last check, and all of a sudden the entire world is open to us.
That's right. The map and compass is still in the pool, I believe. So may not be too much left here.
But we have to find a map and compass, and then there's a couple more items left, because we've already found that small key for the dark, which we have to find.
So there will be 4 more chests here to open up in Escape, and 2 of those we know are going to be assigned those items. So we'll just have to see as we open up in Dark Cross the map.
Alright, so 1 burrito down, 1 compass yet to find, and 2 more potential items to send us even harder into this.
Oh, there is no compass in this game. Okay, is that right? All right.
Oh, that's
My
right.
bad. So there are 3 more checks that we could find something interesting.
And to fill in that question I had earlier, that is the Simo sprite used by Illus. Don't ask me where it comes from, because I have no idea. Perhaps someone can chat and fill me in.
I think, is that Cherno? Is that right?
20 rupees, 20 rupees, 20 rupees.
Ah, that'd be a jackpot in slots.
And it is nice to find having eight bomb drops, so we can take the slightly faster path by bombing this top one you normally get to see. Or don't normally get to see. As we've lost just a little bit of our stink on the right-hand side, as Illus pulls ever so slightly ahead. And that is a 555 and a 556 escapes. Very good from these runners. And a piece of heart for the troubles. Illus deciding to save and quit out while zelgadissan is deciding to push on.
Interesting. I'm wondering if he's going to go check South Shore first and see if he can't find a more convenient Kakariko.
Alright, and there's Zelga's map check to see what they know, to find out what we already knew. Alright, just interesting to see that instant divergence after we come through that forced escape sequence. Illus heading to the south and Zelda heading to Kakariko. And deciding to forego the lumberjack check, despite this being an all-dungeon scene. So at one point we will have to face Agawan. Going into our first check in the Lost Woods, we see a 5 rupee growing in its natural habitat. Zelda grabbing that bush crab, seeing that it's a small magic decanter.
You know, I do find it a little bit interesting. Well, let's check the checks. Check the chest here first. Oh, there's the bow.
And the red boomerang on the right-hand side. So we get the bow in the Lost Woods and a bunch of money and the better boomerang on Illus's side.
Given that this is a hard mode seed, I do find it a little bit interesting that you'd come to South Shore first, where you might have a slightly better chance of finding some safeties in Kakariko. And yet Illus is not going to go all the way to Ice Rod Cave, so interesting choices here.
Just trying to take a slightly, I guess, it's one of those more metagame decisions to take a slightly different route to perhaps lead you to find a bottle before you hit Kakariko, or find the flute. And there's both boomerangs on the side of Illus. As zelgadissan heads down into the thieves' hut to see what five items they're holding on to. Numbers are hard. Get fiver, another fiver, 10 arrows, and 20. We are going to see a lot of those extra fivers, as those are the replacements for the heart pieces and heart containers that are removed because this is hard mode. So we did find one of the remaining heart pieces.
That's right, the Soggy 5 there at the swamp check, and Illus is going to head on over towards Agina, it looks like. Might check out that desert ledge as well.
It's always interesting to see an early play for Agina, as it's one of those instantly available locations that oft is abandoned because of just how inconvenient it is to reach. And Illus gets bullied by that gold man and is gonna have to be very careful going through this desert. And there's the Master Sword in the well.
I tell you, Bungie, I'm getting a little bit worried with all these items that we're finding right up front.
And there's Brian's cane, and there's our Dark World access with our first Power Glove. It's so bad, and wow, there's a lot of this world available to us. And Zagina comes up dry.
And the flute, and zelgadissan is going to go ahead and activate the flute there.
How about
so convenient.
that? Just hey, you kid, give me $100. Here, take this thing that you have to use right there. It looks like we are setting ourselves up for a very fast seed, barring that ice rod or something for progression being hidden deep, dark, in the most awful place you can think of. Or, you know, the pedestal.
Yep, you're right. There are still some medallions to find. Could need those boots, the flippers for sure, and the mirror. I mean, who knows what might be, you know, the barrier to completing all these dungeons for our runners. Just have to find out as Illus checks out the Lost Woods, and Zelgadissan's going to finish up here in Kakariko.
It's not
Going
often
behind the bar.
It's not often you see sub 10-minute dark. There's the Titansmiths. I'm dead. I'm just dead. I'm just dead.
What on earth? You can just go ahead and combo up Village of Outcasts if you really feel like it here in Kakariko.
We have everything we need to access the entire overworld. We are missing just a few dungeon items to really get us through. What is this seed? This is every runner's dream. Should not be tortured by just that all the items hidden. Or if you're someone that's in like Illus's position, or even further this runners, this could lead to a slight panic, as now all of a sudden everything is open where normally a all dungeon seed kind of promotes the less chance of getting trolled by an item location, where all of a sudden all but one thing is missing at this point, or your runner has just as much access to everything as you do, where one decision could really swing this seed. And
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I also noticed in chat while I was ranting there is that the tempered sword was on the library ledge.
That's incredible. So let's just talk about it. You're talking about some slight linearity sometimes to all dungeon seeds, but I mean, this is just completely blown open. It is going to be very interesting to see what type of routing they choose to take and which dungeons they attack first.
All right, so let's just take an inventory. Barring the lamp, which is technically required, logically required, but most of these runners won't need that. Right now, we have access to all of Eastern Palace, all of the Palace of Darkness, all of Skull Woods, all of Thieves Town. We're 12 minutes into this seed.
It's really gonna make some interesting calls, I think, because you know, if you go to Eastern and you find an item that leads you down one chain, you might keep going on that train of logic, follow those breadcrumbs. But if you go to Skull Woods and find an item, you know, that could lead you down a whole other train of checks.
And here we go as we serenade our swag duck. There's just so many things available to us so early in this seed. We have access to the Mire area. We have access to all of Death Mountain the long way. There's just the only thing we can access on Death Mountain is for the checks in the Hookshot Cave at this point.
That's right. And I can't imagine that Hype Cave is gonna have anything here, but who knows? This seed, Hype Cave may just be loaded.
All right, and there's our map check. The 5 crystal is on Ice Palace. The pendants are Thieves Town, Turtle Rock, and Swamp Palace. Not as crucial for the overall completion of the seed, but it helps us hypothesize what could be on pedestal. And then looking at that little bit of information, coins are what really jump out to me as being a pedestal availability.
Well, Blue Mail and Quake and some more money, that's not too bad for a Hype Cave.
Well, the Blue Mail you're definitely happy to see, as this is a hard mode seed, so there's a lot less health available, so that effectively doubles your health. Alright, and here we are 13 minutes in, and we're in the Dark World. Zelda's gonna go ahead and route in Stumpy in the south side of Village of Outcasts and making their way up north. And imagine they'll dip Thieves Town relatively soon. It is just shocking to me to see how much of this map is open right now.
Yep, Zega's just gonna pick up a big 20 from Stumpy. Probably gonna head on down to the digging game.
And here's Illus entering their Dark World from the north side. Alright, we'll open up Alec Baldwin. Between 1 and 30 digs, we must strike the earth and find what is hidden inside. Open the chest game to find a single bomb and our first bottle. And it looks like our prize was another $5. cracking open thieves down, going over to check the sea house, and I'll probably head right back into the dungeon if I had to wager a guess. And there's a big 20. Gonna go ahead and leave Jeremiah behind for now. We have logical access to them, but not as convenient as if you were to have found the mirror already. And Illus is entering our first dungeon 15 minutes in.
And it's Thieves Town of all things. Imagine that.
Considering all the things that are available to us right now, it's definitely one I'd probably head toward first, just because of where it sits. It's just it's the most convenient one to head into right away.
Yeah, and it and Skull Woods are, technically fully in logic here, so it makes a lot of sense.
As Phoenix Wright is going to make their way over, and we're going to high-five our way into Thieves Town.
Sinek asking if this is inverted mode. Sure looks like it.
Well, we're definitely in the Dark World a lot earlier than we expected to be. Another check for Illus, one more down, and we're heading into the back, and now we have access to the big chest, which we have the hammer for, so no big deal.
Yeah, I expect a lot of dungeon plays for those that you can full clear. Just a lot more convenient routing if you find your unique items in the dungeons themselves instead of checking the overworld.
And it definitely feels good to find that key after already holding on to the hammer. It's never a good thing to find that small key while you're still looking for the hammer. Because who likes an extra fetch quest? Making our way further back through the hallway. A little bit of fancy footwork to get through. With that hard mode, there's a few less hearts at this. Typically, entering here, you'd have a few more hearts after going through Kakariko, but this is hard mode. A maximum of 14 hearts is available to our runners.
Illus scoots on past with minimal trouble. Gonna check this hint.
Armor requires a bomb. Well, we already found that in Hype Cave. So, thanks. We needed that reminder.
And that is a good point by chat. With Tempered Sword being on the library bookcase, if they have already found Tempered, they will ignore it since this is hard mode, and we can't get Gold Sword in hard mode, so that'll be just replaced by a green 20 rupee.
Be curious to see if we find our fourth sword before we find our boots. There's another fiver. We're heading on down to Blind. Yeah, absolutely. Bringing in continuing the point of that tempered sword. The second largest damage boost in the game is between Master Sword and Tempered Sword. The only damage increase that is higher is that between the wooden and silver arrows. But speaking of those silver arrows, if we do find them, they will not be usable until we reach Ganon's room. And that's another one of those hard mode adjustments.
Illus is gonna check the big chest first.
Definitely saves us, since we have the lift upgrades, it saves a little bit of time so we don't have to walk back and forth with the maiden.
Makes sense. 50 rupees there. Gonna head on to save the maiden.
I've lost track. Have we seen both of our dungeon items yet?
I believe we've seen the map.
And there's our compass, so go ahead and grab onto the maiden and head on up toward the blind fight.
Now,
go on.
The blind fight is tough, but it is scripted, so as long as you can stay on script, well, when I say scripted, the pattern will be the same whenever you fight blind for the first time. So, as long as they can stay on script, this 4-heart blind hopefully won't be too challenging for them.
with blue mail and the Master Sword, I couldn't imagine them having too much problem here. As long as you do things the same every time, this fight will always end up the same. You start to lose control of your actions, and Illus almost loses blind to the bottom of the screen, but he's staying on script quite well. Has to be careful though. And down goes blind. And there's 10 arrows, and at 20 minutes, 25 seconds, we have our first dungeon completion, the Pendant of Courage.
Well, now that makes the Eastern check a little bit more profitable. You turn in that green pendant to Sashrala, check the closet, maybe go dip into the dungeon. But Illus is gonna do a couple more checks first before we get into all that.
Just waiting impatiently for Blind to reappear. We pick up 3 bombs in the brewery. Alright, so much of the map available to our runners. Where are we heading next?
Looks like we're going to get a hammer peg check here.
Interesting decision to not come back later when perhaps we found the mirror. Or not bringing Jeremiah with us. And there's just so much available to these runners. There's so many decisions that can be made.
Well, Illus can still go pick up Jeremiah, but it would be a little bit more of a time save, I believe, without the mirror to go ahead and do hammer pegs first. We're heading down. Just a piece of heart there in the hammer peg cave.
Alright, and Illus is going to go ahead and make their south side of the village checks they had not done yet, so they'll go through the digging thing, find their 5 rupees, and head on over to Stumpy, and then probably head to Hype Cave, and imagine, pick up that blue mail that we found earlier. And Zelda is bending toward the north, likely going to go ahead and take care of Skull Woods.
Yep, can't say I disagree with this decision here by Zelda. You know, like I said, just clearing out dungeons, hoping to find items as you are collecting those crystals and pendants seems like a very wise decision.
Absolutely, but both of these runners making good routing decisions. It's just a minor divergence has created what appears to be a small gap, but realistically, it's that of just a few seconds.
Oh, I don't even know for sure that you can say one decision is better than the other until we see how the items all shake out, honestly.
It really just, I mean, if you're looking at just a pure items checked, like as your only stat is the total number of checks made, that would put Zelda slightly ahead.
I agree, but I think Illus thinks he needs to do a little bit of gambling, needs to try and make up that minute's worth of time that he was behind in the last race, so he might do a couple checks here, you know, quote-unquote out of order or a little bit off meta.
Now, there's definitely no wrong decisions made here yet, and the total number of checks is definitely not the correct metric to measure Randomizer. Because it's random, we don't know where everything is, there's a logic to it, you just have to kind of read where the logic's sending you, and right now the logic is sending you everywhere. So how do you read that?
I think you just go with your gut and you stick to it. I think you just got to make a call and then react as best as you can.
I definitely go for the high percentage, and if the mirror decides to show itself within rather quickly, I would imagine we would instantly head over toward Pod Eastern, as both of those are completable, unless they would not read that incorrectly because they have not seen the lamp yet, but these runners really don't need it anymore.
Zug is checking behind the statue room, finds a small key.
And did decide to open up the room to pick up that full magic refill hiding inside. And we're gonna get finally our first sick kid check to find just a little bit of love.
Oh, that's a useful one there. It's gonna give you a new heart piece.
And that puts Illus 2 hearts ahead as far as total health goes. And both of them have found their blue mails. Alright, bringing Jeremiah home to see what kind of smiths we have today. these hard-working dwarven craftsmen today have made for us. 50 bucks.
I think that makes them minters.
We found the Hyrulean Mint, and Illus is deciding to head over toward the Palace of Darkness, or deciding to change their mind. They're gonna flute to 2. Wants to, I see. Heading to pick up a potion first so they can come, I guess, just have a bit more safety. Because we already have the bow, so we don't have to worry about bow locking. When you have that flute, it's definitely not bad to go ahead and just pick up extra safeties when you think you may or may not need them.
Yep, Witch's Hut not too far away. Zelda is going to drop into a 3-heart Mothula fight. Let's watch this play out.
Well, he's got Mastered Sword, he has Blue Mail. And missing those Fire Rod shots does not lend itself to much safety. No bottle yet, so no potions. Taking a Master Sword spin. So far, playing it very safe. Using a little bit of Sword Beams. And this Fire Rod shot, and down goes the Moth. Very well executed.
Easy. That was great.
And there's his first crystal, 26 minutes, and I dare say, aside from those missed shots, you won't see a more clean fight. As we go through the get done with the true extortionist, Kiki the Monkey, and head into the Palace of Darkness. And Zelda going ahead, realizing he still has an item here, he's going to go ahead and check that last chest here. And we're looking to find out we were not bow locked, however, we found that bow rather quickly. And now Zelgadissan unfortunately defines the big key, and now has to go check that chest to get their final check out of the way.
Alright, so as Illus is gonna work their way through Pod, and Zelda go back and check this big chest, let's do just a brief, gathering of ourselves here. Still, I think this Pod Eastern play is gonna be, makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely, there's a lot of checks available to us, though some of them technically out of logic, though. These runners won't really pay much attention to the need for a lamp as quite yet. The boots is in Hookshot Cave. That is a big hint to find. So there we know where the boots are and where the access to our tempered sword is. It's very good to find. So that's just more kindness that this seed is paying to them, giving their guaranteed boost into them rather quickly. And Zelda's going to go ahead and check Bumper Ledge to find a bottle.
A lot of small keys here in Pod, as Illus is finding that out in this seed, and gonna head on down. Looks like he's gonna go ahead and take care of Helma first.
Interesting decision, but not the worst. That's just you there. You made it through the right side. You go ahead and take care of the Helmasaur King, and then come on back through.
Some pretty challenging dark rooms coming up here.
Mostly just, well, with the fire rod in hand, we can light the torches on the more difficult one.
That is a good point.
Definitely difficult, but not impossible with this runner's current outfit. And chat bringing up a good point that with if Desert is not boots locked, there's a potential that the hookshot could be hiding in Ganon's tower. definitely a lot of interesting possibilities open to us, as this is all dungeons. So we have found quite a bit of our checks already, as Zelga's going to go ahead and pick up their blacksmith. And there's a nice hammer killing 4 terrapins in one swing. Well set up.
I have to agree. So Illus is going to go ahead and try and take down King Helmasaur, while Zelda turns in the smith. Going to check out Sick Kid first. Seems to be a consistent routing choice by both of our runners.
And Illus is going to go ahead and
take some. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's going to take 17 swings to hammer out his differences with the Helmasaur King. Just gonna go ahead while he sets himself up to do the swing attack. Just go ahead and fire a few arrows in. Down goes the Helmasaur King.
Easy peasy, King Helma. What do you got for us?
That. Well, we
Canis
found
of
our
Mario.
cane right away. What is going on with this seed? As even more kindness is paid to us. That does open us up to some more interesting possibilities. Depending on what the pendant requirement is, we could already have access to Turtle Rock.
Well, my mind is immediately jumping up to Turtle Rock, but we are going to have to see. While Zelda is going to go check out the Meyer Shed.
And we'll finally get to see one of our 2 coin requirements. And he has to be careful with that murder dactyl behind him. And we have access. We technically have access to all of Misery Mire now, barring that lamp requirement that we're still technically looking for logic, though we don't need.
Well, actually, I think we need the hookshot or the boots to get across that gap.
Still gonna clear that gap, and we know that the boots are locked behind the hookshot. So interesting, as finally we're starting to see a bit of the puzzle unfold. What is going to hold us back from reaching the end of this seed?
And also pointed out, because Meyer is a crystal and we will need either the hookshot or the boots, hookshot can't be in Ganon's tower.
Ah, darn it. Really hoping for some real troll after giving us basically everything. And we're, what, 32 minutes in, and all we're looking for is a potential coin, a hook shot, and an ice rod, and a mirror, and flippers.
Right.
It's not as dense as I thought it was originally, but still so much of the overworld given to us so quickly as we head to Saucer Hollow's closet to find just a lot of money.
Old man was loaded.
Being a heart. Second chest in the dark maze, not being anything unique. So it must have been some money or something that we didn't really need.
To say, Illus studied that his menu screen pretty hard there, making sure he didn't miss an item.
Alright, and it looks like just the Cadus of Mario is hiding for us in the Palace of Darkness. And Zelga's gonna give us our first check into Eastern Palace. And yes, chat, you're right. That could have been a single arrow. But we won't really know. And Illus is going to go ahead and rescue the old man and give us our first visit onto Death Mountain.
Interesting. Illus is... He just completed... I guess he didn't have the mirror, so it makes sense to... He can't go into Eastern.
I'm gonna go ahead and get a few of these checks out of the way, and give you the nice save and quit point. And there's our Ether Medallion. Interesting, deciding to leave afterward. He's gonna go ahead and take care of Eastern Palace. curious that he did not decide to head up the mountain and check that hint tile and the item on the Spectacle Rock Cave. And I missed that hint, but I'm going to double check it on the restream.
Just said some cash in Blonde's hideout, which, you know, thanks for that.
I dare say my favorite hint in the entire game is some caches in Ganon's tower. As Illus finds out that the old man is holding onto a small fortune, he's gonna head on over to Eastern Palace, turn in our green pendant to find just a piece of heart. Zelga's making their way through the dark room of Eastern here. So far, not a whole lot is turned up.
Let's think about other checks that haven't been made. With Flute in hand, Ice Rod Cave is an easy check, but I don't think either runner has seen that cave yet.
Another fiver for Zelgadissan. Be curious to see, and just looking at what is available and where that lamp could be hiding logically. What jumps out to me is Zora, as we've had those gloves for quite a long time.
That's right, and both the runners do have the money for it.
It's definitely not a poverty seed, though. The logic does not take into account where money drops are. It just assumes that you can obtain it somehow. As there are a few places that you can farm rupees. See Zelda go ahead and take in the safety of turning on the lights in that room.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Just a little bit of magic used to ensure completion of a dark room.
And that's one of those.
Illus is going to be.
Definitely using control of that room. Nice little fairy drop farm. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a few of the arrows. It's almost as if this room is telling you, you need arrows for this next boss. Sets himself up for the clean, quick kill. So that could potentially miss one of those, or miscounted his shots, but still, clean as ever. 5 rupees, Eastern Palace coming up dry, but that's our first of our 5-6 crystals.
Without flippers, won't be able to get our other 5-6 crystal for a while yet, because it is trapped in Ice Palace. Although I guess you could fake flipper over there. Though, with so much available, breaking logic might be a little bit dangerous.
That is a really large sequence break to create. Alright, Zelga's gonna go ahead and fly back to 5, and they're gonna make their entrance to the Palace of Darkness. And as we are running through some recursive checks here, go ahead, if you're liking what you're seeing today, give these runners a follow. They're putting themselves out there for your entertainment and to show off this great game that we play. So the least thing you need to do is show them just a little bit of love. Go ahead and bring in the monkey and make our way through the last parts of Eastern Palace. We're curious to see where these runners decide to go next. Skull Woods is still available to Illus, have not been there yet. But the main crux we're looking for here is like the flippers to get us quite a bit of checks available. So much is available on the map, but so much is missing, and mainly we. Despite our really bountiful opening of locations, we're starting to run a little bit out.
Yeah, it looks like the seed is going to start converging here, unless, I mean, something surprising happens. It looks like Illus is probably going to be thrust over towards Skullwoods after completing Eastern Palace, and I do think you're right that Death Mountain or Zora are going to have our main checks.
Also, we have not yet seen the Pyramid Ledge or the Catfish. Alright, and they're choosing just a slightly different strategy. Zelda chooses, or Illus chooses a slightly different strategy on the quick kill of the Armos Knights. Still just as clean, picking up their 5er and their 6 crystal. And yes, chat, Ice Frog Cave still has not been peeked at, so we have a few out-of-the-way checks left to send us in another direction in this seed. And Illus is heading back to the village. It looks like they're heading to Skullwoods.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Grab yourself another crystal, and oh wait, is that right? Yeah, another crystal, and you know, kind of think about what your next plays are after that.
And with where Zelda sits is they're going to go ahead and set up the hammer yump there. Zelda is set up to head over toward the Pyramid Ledge and catfish. Because they've already completed Eastern Palace, that seems like, and then put them right outside. It puts them in a decent position to make that check right away. And as we run through some recursive checks, let's take a look at what this race means. Zelgadissan comes in at 9 and 5. This is their final race. They need to win this race to force a tiebreaker with Elminster RTA. Where Illus just cannot advance into the bracket stage. This is definitely one where you set up to play spoiler for your fellow runner.
Oh yeah, a lot of pride involved in these races still. So Illus racing with his heart out. You know, I talked with him and he said, hey, he didn't want to be on the same side as that 1 minute defeat as yesterday. So he's looking to have a good show here and win this race for sure.
And it should definitely be a lot of fun to see where this ends up. After yesterday's photo finish, I'd be curious to see how these runners shake out today. With so much of this map just made available to them almost instantly, we go through the standard escape sequence to find our sword, our hammer, and our fire rod. Come on out and get both gloves and the flute, both gloves, the flute, and the bow, just on between the Lost Woods and Kakariko Village. Go through Pod, find the Cane of Samaria. Our Moon Pearl was hiding in our house. Just so much available right away. So much chance for divergence. However, it seems that we're just kind of converging on that last little bit of overworld checking. What I find interesting was Illus's decision to rescue the old man and then leave without checking Spectacle Rock, where that could have been holding on to a mirror or a hook shot, something that could have sent them even further along the line.
That's right, and given the hint there, it was an interesting decision, but you have to think they're going to have to go up there sooner or later now.
And they are set up for an easy save and quit, so say that the mirror or hookshot are hiding on one of our two fishes, they just have an instant save and quit to get access to the entirety of the mountain. So I could see where that overall time save mindset could come through, though we already have access to the flute, so it's not that big of a save unless they're coming at us somewhere in the dark world. Right, and there goes down the easier moth fight for Illus, as they had a few more hearts to work with, but still made quick work of our friend the moth. As Zelda is making their way through the terror pin room, It's gonna head on toward the Helmosaur King. And there's Illus getting the bad news of the big key requirement. Has to walk back out the long way with the amount of hearts and the blue mail would not be the quickest death warrant. Taking a look at what has gone unchecked thus far, we have not seen Ice Rod Cave, we have not seen Zora, we have not seen the Pyramid Ledge or Catfish. As well as we have not seen what is inside Spectacle Rock Cave.
Alright, so Zelda making quick work of King Helmosaur as Illus goes to check the big chest. And picking up his cane is Zelda, so I wonder where that's going to lead him.
Well, with our current layout, that doesn't open much, because we can't get to Turtle Rock yet. And we can't get into most of Mystery Mire, so Illus is just not quite getting the setup they need for their bomb jump.
So, I guess given that, if you are very close to getting into Turtle Rock, but you can't quite get there yet, I think it would make sense to not check Death Mountain just quite yet, in case you can do it all in one go.
And it looks like we're finally going to see our first check of the Ice Rod Cave. 46 minutes in, and we're just checking this Sphere 1 location. Alright, a long walk to a cold cave reveals for us the hook shot!
Well, there it is. That is going to really break open the seed now for Zelda.
Yep, that opens up our access to where our boots are hiding in the hookshot cave. That opens up the entirety of Death Mountain, and that's exactly where they're floating to now. Gonna go ahead and pick up their old man. As Illus is heading into the Dark World, looks like they're going to go check the Spike Cave, perhaps. Yep, that's where we're going.
Illus is probably going to be kicking themselves since they went South Shore first, right out of their house, and chose to save and quit after Mini Moldorm Cave. No, I take it back. They went to Agina after that.
Yes, they did. Burning up their blue potion and finding just a 5 for their troubles. They'll have to save and quit out, and we hope for their sake they decide to flute to 8 once they respawn. Goes to the mountain cave to pick up the health refill and picks up their flute. Where are they heading? And they're fluting to 2. They're going to go ahead and check the Zora area, it would appear, or at least pick up another blue potion. Alright, they got the flute back out. I'm hoping 8. That is 6. Checking the desert ledge real quick. Where are we fluting to next? Alright, and we do know that the left side of Swamp is now useless to us. It has our big key and some money. Unless there's something hiding in that big chest that we would need.
That's right. Using the item layout logic, we can see if there is anything of use in that big chest. So the runners have to make that decision for themselves as they clear out Swamp.
Alright, let's just go ahead and knocking out their mire shed to find the bug net, and I believe some money. No, that was our second shield. Save and quit out of the mire shed. Illus, where are you going to next? As Zelda starts to make their way through the item cache that is Death Mountain. First 2 checks in Paradox Cave reveal for us today some booms and 5.
Alright, so Illus is going to go get their hook shot. To their relief, I'm sure.
And definitely, one thing to point out is this is hard mode. That will be the last shield that we will find today. See that other shield's out there in the item pool. We just won't be able to pick it up.
That was the book. So that's going to open up Desert for us and the tablet checks.
All right, we've got literacy, and as we know, where the boots are hiding, the desert will be completable once they finish going through the mountain, as they unfortunately lose the pixel and fall down from Paradox Cave.
So wow, after Zelda gets done with Death Mountain here, we are looking ever closer to go mode.
No, absolutely. The biggest thing that we're looking for now would be the flippers to open up both Swamp and Ice Palace, and then of course the Ice Rod, so we can complete Trinex. But that could be hiding in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that could be anywhere.
The only place the Ice Rod cannot exist in this seed is on Trinex. And we see just a piece of heart on the floating island. Looks like Zelda is deciding to head on over and take care of the Tower of Hera and the Ether Tablet before they head onto the dark side of Death Mountain. Definitely a good play here.
Yep, as pointed out here, we'll need the mirror for Swamp, and Ice Rod technically can't be on pedestal as Totorock is pendant.
So it's 2 out of the 200 plus locations as we hold our sword to the sky and read a book to find a bottle of red goo come flying at us.
Yeah, I wasn't quite knocking your math there. Seems pretty wide open wherever the Ice Rod could be.
It's just curious to see just how many places that one item can be hiding. As we find our big key right away in the Tower of Hera, we'll see if we have to go to the basement. We will not know that yet. First intel, some cash and a piece of heart requires a big red bomb, so no need to go visit the Pyramid Fairy, and there was where our lamp was hiding this entire time.
Wow, Lamp and Hera, some leaps of logic there.
Well, since we did have the hook shot available to us right away out of Ice Rock Cave, this was an easily available to us right away.
That is true. Just when you're thinking about laying out a seed. Right, yeah, you're exactly right.
Of course, as we're into this fall 2018 tournament, the top 96 runners after our qualifiers are here out of a pool of just about over 200 unique runners entered into the qualifiers. We're down to 96, and we're getting us down to cutting that down quite a bit. So we're getting these are the better runners. That lamp, who needs that?
I do want to point out that Mimic Cave is going to be a non-profitable check. Well, I guess it would be a profitable check because there's only cash in there.
I just don't think we're going to really need that at this point, as Trolldorm lives up to his name and sends Zelda down to the bottom.
That'll be a think, Dorm. 1-0 for the troll.
As Illus takes a bit of a dive from the hard hat beetles. Trolldorm, why are you going to be that way, man? Second spin. Third spin, and he reaches in rage mode. Definitely something you don't want to mess with. And there's another last final swing, and down goes Trolldorm. And the compass, I believe we're heading down to the basement after we pick up our next crystal. The fourth here for Zelda.
Yeah, this is one of the differences, I would say, in a Defeat Ganon versus All Dungeon Seed. In a Defeat Ganon, you might skip out on coffee break. Oh, well, looks like Zelda is as well.
Or perhaps I lost count of the I may have lost count of the items. I don't think he had the small key, actually.
That's right, the key is down there, so locked behind the door.
one of the few locations that the key for access can be hiding inside. Alright, Zelda walks their way slowly through the spiral cave. Slow walking speeds won't be a thing much longer, as we do know that our boots are hiding in the hookshot cave, where Zelda will be heading pretty quickly afterward. They'll finish the check, be down to the bottom of the mountain, and head into the Dark World.
Moldorm's been out for blood today, but looks like... Ooh, be careful there, Illus.
And down goes Moldorm.
Alright, so both of our runners settle the score against Moldorm and are going to head out of Tower Para.
Alright, and here we are in the dark side of the Dark World of Death Mountain. Just gonna head through Super Bunny Cave here and see what's hiding inside. Big things we're looking for now are the flippers for sure, the ice rod, the mirror, and potentially Bombos if that's what we need to get into Turtle Rock. We have not seen that yet, but we should see it shortly. Whole lot of nothing here in the first part of Super Bunny. We'll see what is hiding out on the Hookshot Cave aside from our boots that we know are going to be there.
Looked like Quake on Turtle Rock for me, so that is openable, so we do not need Bombos for this seed.
Alright, so we have a double Quake requirement here. And there's our boots hiding in the one spot that you could actually access with the boots in this cave.
Is this inverted mode? Oh.
And beyond that, we did not find anything else, so that opens up for us. Well, now we have full guaranteed access to the Desert Palace. And we've now unlocked logical access to complete Misery Mire. And Zelda's gonna go ahead and dive in and check their spike cave.
Alright, so after some overworld checks, I imagine both runners are going to go head back into dungeons after this and see what items they can pick up there.
If I had to wager a guess, probably the best play is to head to the combo of Desert and Mire. Not the quickest combo, as we have not found the mirror yet, but those are the two places we're being sent now. But Zelda's going to go ahead and check the... I imagine they're going to check the boots lock locations here. King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks.
Makes sense to me. Gonna go into King's Tomb first, and that will reveal.
The King's Treasure today is our 4th sword upgrade, so the library will not be visited again.
Oh boy. They probably would have headed on to Kakariko, but that'll save that check for them.
It would not have been the worst play ever, as they're gonna have to bend toward Desert anyway. But Illus is gonna go ahead and start with Desert Palace, it would appear. As we find 50 bucks in the Bonk Rocks.
Alright, both of our runners are gonna go into Desert Palace and see what it holds for us there.
But definitely the right play here. Just go ahead and take care of Desert Palace, and then flute back to 6 on your way out, and head into Misery Mire. Always feels good to come in here with the boots, as it definitely makes things a little bit quicker. Lots of long hallways here in Desert.
Yep, and we're gonna get another hint check here, see if it's anything useful at all.
It's a secret to everybody that this is garbage. We were technically boots locked, but we've already got those, so no worries here. And let's just slightly ahead here in Desert. But only because of the extra check that Zelda decided to make, which did pay off in a Tempered Sword. Alright, there's our big key, so the big chest and our friend Landmola should be holding onto our 2 items in Desert here. Still looking for Mirror, still looking for Flipper, still looking for that Ice Rod. 3 items left to find, and we're an hour into this seed. It definitely speaks to the monumentous treasure trove that the opening of this seed was.
That's right, and still plenty of places for them to all be locked behind. So buckle in, folks. No telling how much is left in this race.
And for the numismatists out there, we have found our final coin, so our collection is complete, though it was not required. Coming our way to the south, out of the other door of Desert, we're going to head on back and take care of the Landmolas.
Yeah, Hookshot was an Ice Rod cave. Sorry about that.
They're taking a look, trying to see if there's anything. I guess there really isn't much left for our friend the pedestal at this point.
Yeah, only thing really would be Silver's, I believe, and I'm not gonna go check the ped for that.
No, I think at that point you had pretty much abandoned it as it is hard mode. That the silvers are only usable in Ganon's room. Setting up for some fire rod shots here on the Landmolas. Only one of them eluded Illus. Final shot puts him down. We've cooked us some sandworm and revealed our 4th bottle. So all bottles get, and I'm imagining our next play is heading over to Misery Mire.
Does sound about right. Although I'm wondering, with Ice Rod holding the hook shot, I wonder if our friend Zora is holding on to another progression item.
That is possible, and also looking at our layout, we could see that Ice Rod hidden in Ganon's tower, which is an interesting scenario. One of the more fun things with all dungeons. And Illus is going to go ahead and grab their library sword, as they did not go to King's Tomb yet. So we did get to see all 4 swords looted, just in different ways.
I believe this hints towards a Maya play, since Master Sword Vitreous is not great.
No, 100% the next logical step was to head over to Misery Mire, and they're going to go in there almost simultaneously, as we have been neck and neck for the entirety of this seed, really. Slight variations, but not by much. Definitely speaks to how linear this seed has become, because neither of them decided to pick up that hook shot. Had one of them decided to dive over to Ice Rod Cave early, which Illus definitely had the chance for with the way they routed the early game, it could have proved more of a Illus could be massively ahead at this point.
Yeah, but when you get the flute so early, then you do tend to put off that Ice Rod check, as I have seen in the past by runners.
Definitely a lot to be said here. It's a very close race, and this could come down to a lot of things. Routing in Ganon's tower. I mean, this is such a close race. just find a bomb in our ideal chest to find the big key, though we're still looking for items, so we're going to go ahead and clear up most of this dungeon. As we are now in one of the very few rooms that the Cane of Burna and Magic Cape act normally. As this is hard mode, the Cane of Burna no longer provides invincibility, except for when the room is where it is required, a la the Spike Cave or that room. And the Magic Cape will drain your magic twice as fast. And there is no half magic available.
And really, this has been a pretty generous seed outside of those early blind and Mothula kills. It's been relatively safe.
I mean, and if you've already found the blue mail, you're at about either 7 or 8 hearts at this point. You're feeling pretty good safety-wise. As both of our runners attempt to forego the long cutscene chest, only we found out that, yep, you gotta do that. Or perhaps I'm mistaken.
Interesting choice here.
Illus making both the runners making interesting movement decisions here in Misery Mire. Just trying to avoid that cutscene chest, but neither of them can. Both low on magic, but there is a full magic decanter here in the room that zelgadissan is in. As the ground shakes for that long cutscene, though it isn't any longer than any other cutscene in the game. It just feels like it because you don't actually see what's going on. I always found this to be an interesting decision by the developers to put a cutscene in a room that you can't see.
We found our hookshot hit a bit late.
Alright, and there's our big key as anticipated, and we're going to head on in and take care of Vitreous.
I believe that was the vanilla big key chest, am I right?
Absolutely. The hookshot requires a bomb, though not the most helpful when you figure out just how many locations are technically, quote-unquote, behind a bomb. Just looking at my list of locations, there are 9 possible locations that are considered to be behind a bomb. So it ends up being more total checks than 9, as it also includes the randomizer room in Ganon's Tower.
Alright, so after you get these flippers, you think you're gonna head into GT after Ice Palace to find the rest of these items? It is the most item-dense location. It's gonna be interesting to see what the runners decide after those flippers are acquired.
Or do you decide to take care of Swamp Palace beforehand and hope to find the ice rod before, so you can take care of all the dungeons previously and make for more efficient routing going into the Ganon's Tower to Aga 1. Really just depends on where that mirror turns up, if it does.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. If they incidentally find the mirror, I believe they will go to Swamp first. A little bit of spookiness, it looks like, from Zelda as he heads into Vitreous.
It looks like Illus attempted it, but didn't have the setup quite right. Go ahead and taking some... Zelda has to be careful with their health management right now. They do have a second red potion. But just a little bit off on the execution of these eyeball kills, and Illus also has to be careful. I don't know if they have any of their blue potions left. Ooh, that was close to taking an eyeball poke. Alright, Zelda puts their arrows in. Illus finally finishes off their little guys.
Oh, there we go, Illus. Oh, I was fearing the worst there. And down goes Vitreous.
And they pick up $1 for their trouble, and now we need to head on further. So, who's thinking vanilla flippers at this point? Zelda is saving and quitting out of Misery Mire. As Illus does. Small variations on when they choose to start their journey. It looks like we're getting a flute to 2, and going to pick up some potions because it's hard mode, and we've got plenty of money. And I would imagine that we're going to go ahead and visit the king of all scams.
I have to say, I do appreciate runners buying potions. I think it is a smart call. You just never can tell when you're going to have a slight mishap and you're going to need it.
Alright, and Zelda is gone to 5, while Illus is going to 8. And they're going to set up a fake flipper.
Looks like this is just going to be quicker access to Zora. Although, oh no, I'm not sure I agree with this.
And there we have a sequence break of Ice Palace. Interesting decision by Illus, but it looks like zelgadissan is going to make the same call. Well, with the amount of hints that are in Ice Palace and just the ability to clear it, it's not the worst call, however. It checks off the hints. It checks off that final crystal that we need. I think they're trying to bend toward like an ice rod being in Ganon's tower. I guess they just want to get GT out of the way. It's an interesting route decision.
Yeah, we're going to see how it pans out, but both runners did make the same decision, so I'm gonna trust the people that are in the tournament. They know something I do not.
It is an interesting logic decision for sure. Asking chat, answering question in chat, there was some divergence really early in the seed, but with both of our runners deciding to abandon the Ice Rod Cave until very late in the seed, it ended up playing out pretty linear. A unique item is in Kakariko, well thanks. As Illus doesn't quite get the setup.
And we have had the Pyramid Fairy hint, and there's nothing behind Pyramid Fairy of use.
2 more hints available here in Ice Palace. As we are just pixels away from each other in Ice Palace now, setting up our Ice Palace bomb jumps. Zelda deciding to check their frames to make sure they get sailed. Illus not quite managing it for now the second time. Definitely one of the more difficult tricks in the game that you definitely need to learn if you want to get good at Randomizer. And there's finally the setup for Illus, but they're getting low on hearts. There is one available in this room. I have to admit, I'll agree with that. This definitely seems like a GT play. Looking at what's left on the map, flippers is what's really vanilla flippers is really the only thing I see where that flippers are hiding at this point. I think they've both surmised this and decided, I'm just gonna... Alright, so flippers are in their vanilla location. I can just knock out Ice Palace and do Ganon's Tower, and then come back for those flippers to finish out the pendant dungeons.
Yep, that could make some sense to me. Illus picking up a heart there. He was getting kind of low. I'm surprised they haven't popped that potion yet.
Or I should say that they could also be hiding in Turtle Rock. So at this point, you're gambling. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and knock out this because I know I can complete it. And then head up to Ganon's Tower and try to just check Ice Rod off the list. Because otherwise, Ice Rod has to be in there or somewhere else. Though we have not seen Catfish or the Pyramid Ledge yet, so they could still be hiding there. It's just a really interesting meta decision, and it's interesting to see that both of these runners make this same low % call. And the mode was picked by the bot, because this should be their third race between them. I do not remember what the vetoes were.
I've got it pulled up here. 1 second. Looks like Illus vetoed Retro and zelgadissan vetoed Swordless.
Alright, and zelgadissan drops down to face our friend in the Cold Stare Puffs as Illus decides to go ahead and grab the fairies here in Ice Palace. Just loses control of one of those 3 puffs, but zelgadissan has taken down Cold Stare to find just the compass. And
Buddy, that was a pretty clean kill, and that is 7 crystals, yep.
So I have to wonder here, do we take the risk of playing the game not knowing when they're going to head over there? I mean, technically this is 7 crystals, so we can now access Ganon's Tower.
Well, I say Zelda was the first to the 7th crystal, so we can start it and just count whenever Zelda.
Alright, so go ahead and get your guesses in the chat. There are 22 locations that the Ganon's Tower Big Key could be hiding. As this is the Link to the Past Randomizer, you do not need to be a sub or supporter in order to gain access to this game. There is a leaderboard available. It scales off of how many people are in the room when the game has begun. So go ahead and get your guesses in. If we do not head up towards Ganon's Tower, I could probably just cut this off after about 2 minutes, I think. Alright, Zelda, are you going to head to Turtle Rock, or are you going to head to Ganon's Tower?
I think I would open up Turtle Rock and at least check the hint, and then, given their play, see them going on to GT.
Alright, we've cracked open Turtle Rock. Where do we head next, Zelda? Goes ahead and grab the hearts off of the paw, and he's heading to GT. So, last few moments to get your guesses in. As soon as we go up the stairs, I will cut off the guesses.
Bungie, what about you? What guess you got for the Ganon Tower Big Key?
Well, typically I'm a 17, but somebody stole that from me in chat, so I'm going to be a jerk and go for 22, typically that's the tile room.
I'll say $1, Bob.
Alright, final chance to get those guesses in, because I'm about to turn it off. Alright, here we go. Check number 1, small key. Check number 2, the magic cape. Not unlocking anything on its own, and Zelda is deciding to go to the right.
And to answer your question in chat, this is not Go mode, this is an all dungeon seed. So we are going to need to be able to complete all dungeons and Aghanim 1 before we can defeat Ganon.
And we need the flippers and the ice rod to do that.
And the mirror.
And the mirror. 3 items missing, and we're in Ganon's Tower. Thank you, all dungeons. This is fun. And we get the really nice cane dash from Zelgadissan. I love that punt trick. Number 3, bombs. Number 4, heart. 5, bombs. 6, compass.
Illus is going to head to the left, but I imagine this is going to be just about a full clear of the GT basement here.
It's going to have to be, because we're still looking for items, and they could be hiding in here. So we will probably even see the big chest visited at this point. Now note, Zelda was the first one to go through here, so despite us finding the key, we still have to wait for for Zelda to find it to get our official number. Alright, so what is Bob's chest hiding for us? Just a small key. That's number 7 for them. Head on down to Armos on ice. Not as fast as our first Armos Knights fight, as ice physics make things interesting. Getting a little low on that arrow count. Down goes the Armos Knights. 3 more chests to check here. 8 is the magic powder. 9 is arrows, and the shovel is in 10. Who wants some fetch quests? That's 2 out of our 3 fetch quest items found in the single ice Armos room.
Ganon's Tower giving us all kinds of quests today.
The randomizer room opens up a few more checks for us, and just a heart container. And there's another check for the small key. That's 11. Interesting that we have not found anything of note yet in Ganon's Tower.
Well, aside from the fetch quest, which could turn into something.
No immediate finds, I suppose I should have said. 12 20 rupees, 13 20 rupees. And 14, his Ganon's Tower big key. 15, 5 rupees.
Was that the mirror?
All right. Was that mirror? I was putting in the key game. Yes, we did find the mirror.
I believe
All right.
That was mirror.
All right, and I will go ahead and congratulate So Stars, the winner of the Ganon's Tower Big King guessing game with guessing 14, and it was 14. You have thus scored 36 points on the Link to the Past Randomizer Ganon's Tower Big Key leaderboard. Congratulations. That has jumped them up to first place.
Nice. So let's hope that Zelda does not forget the big chest, as they did pass it on their loop around the basement, because mirror was in the big chest.
It's not something you often think about going to, as you typically don't see it touched much. But the mirror in the big chest is definitely huge. Still missing the flippers to finish our Swamp Palace puzzle. But those could be hiding higher up in the tower.
Well, we know the flippers won't be here because Ice Palace was crystal.
Oh, that's right. And they can't be on any of the fetch quests either.
That's right, unless the mushroom is in the overworld somewhere.
Or in Turtle Rock.
Very true.
And we are just in slightly different rooms in the same tower now. What a race we have for us now. Definitely, while we're going through some recursor checks, give these guys a follow. They're putting on an absolutely outstanding show of Link to the Past for us today, and they deserve your support. As Zelda does remember to check that big chest and finds their mirror.
And they're going to go ahead and clear out Yes, they're gonna go ahead and clear out the top of Ganon's Tower, go through the gauntlet, make their way all the way to Aga 2. So you can clear out all the way through Aghanim 2 and drop down into Ganon himself, but you will not be able to damage him without completing the pendants and Aghanim 1 as well.
Yep, if you drop into that tower without having completed all your completion objectives, he'll call you a dingus and send you on your way. And an interesting point, neither of our runners have decided to check Tile Room. I'm not aware of the max item logic of Ganon's Tower, but I'd imagine it's gonna be tough. It's a tough call because you've effectively orphaned it, because once you beat Aga 2, it's going to take you to the pyramid. This could be pivotal. But then again, the only thing it could be holding on to is the Ice Rod, so it's one check for potential. Zelgadissan is going to go ahead and show off here the refill room, which is one of the reasons that Boots bonking is considered to be a developer-intended trick. As that is the only way to access that.
Yeah, and it could be pivotal, but both of our runners decided to skip Tile Room, so I guess the most pivotal part would be if you go through all of Ganon's Tower here and you don't find the Ice Rod, if anyone chooses at some point to come back to the room.
I mean, they will have to come back and complete Turtle Rock. That could be I'd imagine that at this point, both of these runners are thinking of last locationing it.
Yeah, I think when you decide to skip something, it does become your last location to check.
And I also think, if my memory serves me correctly, with proper use of the save and continue, they could leave their portal at the laser bridge and come back to this. So you don't find Ice Rod in one of those locations, and you can drop back into the laser bridge, though I'm not the most familiar with how that trick specifically works. That's not really a trick, as it is something that's mentioned in the instruction booklet for A Link to the Past.
So a little bit more quick geometry here as we make our way up to Moldorm 2.
Making some rather kind fairy drops as we're making our way up the tower. Illus has to be careful, they're running low on magic. They'll have just enough to make a fire rod shot here, and then there is a full refill in this room. Have to be careful for that laser, though. So we are half a room apart at this point. Such an intensely close race. Few more checks, still no Ice Rod. As we get to just about a full room between them. Another chest check is just 20 rupees.
You'll see another difference in the hard mode is that fairy, or when you're pattering an anti-fairy, it just becomes a heart.
However, 2 hearts is better than none at this point. Down goes Moldorm 2. Blink and you miss it.
Nice double hit on that spin. That was nice.
Absolutely. As we pick up just a few more booms on Moldorm's last possessions, we're heading up to Aghanim 2. Still no Ice Rod, and the tile room is left unchecked. This does put a lot of interesting things, though. With what we've found in Ganon's Tower, we've opened up a few more Ice Rod locations, all our mirror locked locations, like Cave 45, and most of our fetch quests. As Illus unfortunately does not get any of those shots, but here's a setup for a triple. Unfortunately, he does not get enough balls and misses those bank shots because of it. Zelda having a little bit better time with their geometry chest. But not by much. This has been a very unfun bit of geometry here, as we've now lost the sync on the clones. Another bit of blue balling there. Just not good setups here. And Illus has to be careful. They're running low on health. And down goes Aga 2.
Oof, after a brutal Aga 2 there for both our runners.
It's definitely a tough fight. And down it goes for zelgadissan. And I think that was on the same one. Just what a tough fight. Now both of our runners will have to make their way over the hole, as they cannot fight Ganon yet.
Now I want to see if our runners remember to not check our mirror locations, hoping for the flippers. And now you can check them for the ice rod. Oh.
And Illus going ahead, and while there is no better time than right now with the mirror to take care of Aga 1. It puts you right there. There's no better time, and Zelda just decides to check the pyramid ledge before themselves heading into Aga 1. We've already seen the left side swamp hint here. It is the big key and some cash. Zelda, we need to be careful there. They're only here in a heart and a half, but these enemies aren't that intimidating. They'll take a bit of a hiccup here. I do believe they're still sitting on their blue potion as well.
Going into Aga 1 right now is going to make some convenient routing once you've cleared all your pendants, because a save and quit in the Dark World will put you right back at the top of the pyramid.
Since we have our mirror in hand. So now we're coming down to where are our flippers, where is our ice rod? We have so many fetch quests made available to us now. Check the hint tile, and it's just telling us about Misery Mire, which we've already completed. Alright, making our way. Illus, it's a couple rooms ahead, but this could really come down to which of the mirror checks is holding, could potentially be holding the ice rod, or which of our checks, which of our fetch quests is holding us. Really, this is still anyone's race. It's just so hotly contested as we get towards to just 2 items left. We're 1 hour and 32 minutes, and the only thing we have left to do is 2 more pendant dungeons. Both of which completions are locked behind a single item, which could be hiding in each other's dungeons. And there's still the ice rod, could be hiding in the tile room of Ganon's tower, which could be extremely unfortunate. Though both of our runners did decide to abandon it, so there's a lot of things available as Illus is heading into their technically first required geometry test, but they've decided to do it second. And so far, no blue ball, and we did not get a blue ball on the first shot.
Would you call this remedial geometry then, if you do it second?
I would have to believe so, and there's our first blue ball, as a reminder that the RNG is locked between these 2 runners. The first one is always, it is a 5-part cycle. The first one is always reflectable. Then the next 3 could be a 50-50 shot of blue ball or reflectable. The 5th cycle always being lightning. We have not seen a hint of silvers, not technically required, or they only work in Ganon's tower room, but that could also come into if we stay close and one runner decides to dive just slightly out of the way of the other and find the silvers. That could be a massive time save.
Yeah, they can't be behind. So chat's asking where the flippers can be. They cannot be behind the fetch quests or the mirror locations because those were found in Ganon's tower. Ice Palace being a crystal would not allow that in the launch.
So right now, for as far as where the flippers could be, it's Sora, or it's Turtle Rock, or it's Catfish.
You are 100% right, though, that Ice Rod could be behind the mirror, because that could be anywhere at this point besides on Trinax or the pedestal.
right, and we're on the hunt for flipping ice. We're on our hunt for the flipping ice rod and the and the cold flippers. And here's our catfish check from Illus.
And the mirror is going to make this a more convenient check now because you can go straight up to Zora.
The interesting is Zelda has decided to go back to the light world, and they're going to check mirror locate. I think they're going to check mirror locations now.
Looks like first up is the shovel.
Small bit of divergence here, but two out of the way checks left. Who's going to find that ice rod first, folks? Just before we get there, any guesses as to where the ice rod might be? Come on, chat. 5 rupees there, and 5 rupees on the right.
At this point, I'm just going to call Laser Bridge. What do you think, Bungie?
Let's put Ice Rod here on Zora. And force us into Turtle Rock. That would give Illus a big advantage. Though we have not done the purple chest either.
Oh wow, that's right. We did not do purple chest.
Alright, you've awoken me from my slumber. I curse thee with $20! As the king of all scams gives us $5 back!
This is a 1% return, not the greatest.
Illus, I'm not sure why they're walking that way. I know they're trying to flute. I'm just trying to figure out why they're walking that direction. There's just a heart container on the ledge. Alright, here we go. We're into the mire area. Time to check Checkerboard Cave. Oh, he's grabbing his Dark World portal. Where are you going?
Gonna continue the loop on the Graveyard Ledge?
I suppose you're right, you can hookshot across. And it just bombs there. Yep. So Illus has decided to go hookshot over and check the Graveyard Ledge, which we have not checked yet. Zelda is onto the mountain. Are they thinking tile room? Or are they going to, or are they just gonna go ahead and say, screw it, it's all in Turtle Rock?
Man, I'd say you'd have to check Turtle Rock here, but I'm not running this race. Don't know how Zelda feels about their position.
Well, this would be the... Oh, they haven't done King's Tomb yet. So that's where they have more checks available, because they never checked these bootlock location. Now, no, they're only going to find 20 rupees here, as that was our 4th sword here. So we do have... So this is the right play for them, because they have not checked these 3 checks yet. Now, if the mirror ledge here has our ice rod, or Graveyard Ledge has our ice rod, that is a massive boon for Illus. So if you're an Illus fan in this race, you're hoping to find the ice rod here.
Because I think T-Rock has... No, could be Purple Chest. T-Rock or Purple Chest has the flippers now, I think.
As we find just a joke hit on the front, and there's the silver arrows. That could also come up huge.
Whoa, that's big if Zelda does not wind up checking Graveyard Ledge if they find both items here in T-Rock.
It really just depends on how long it takes Illus to make it to Turtle Rock if that's holding on to the keys. They're going to go ahead and check Bonk Rocks here, which is just nothing. Was that the flippers I just saw?
They were flips. First chest in T-Rock.
So first chest in T-Rock, and Zelda is deciding, I'm out of here. I am going to Swamp Palace next to make sure that I'm not going to get trolled by this ice rod. We do know it cannot be on the left side of Swamp. However, the big key is hiding there, so it could be in the big chest of Swamp Palace. So it really comes down to how early do you decide to route in the left side? Is it after or is it immediately? I have to imagine with your just looking for one item, you come back, check left side last if it's hiding in the big chest. So much can be seen here. This is just Illus is checking a location we have not seen for the entirety of the game. We have never checked Lumberjack Ledge.
Oh,
and they're
wow.
just diving it. If this is the ice rod, this is, I mean, that turns it into a go mode swamp. It's just 5 rupees. I'm losing my mind over here. I'm jumping up and down. What a race we have for us, folks. Illus, get your way to get up to Turtle Rock. Find your flippers, and this is so close.
Yeah, Illus really needs to be focusing on his flippers find, which...
He's heading up the right direction for
now.
He's up the right direction for that. Those silver arrows, I 100% do not believe that Zelda will make their way to the silver arrows. And that could be the difference when it comes to the Ganon fight, as opposed to doing 4 shots as a set of 12 sword spins, but they're fluting away because they got dead rocks. Why are you back in the village?
Purple chest?
Purple chest. That's the only thing left for them to hear. And if that's the ice rod, that's another thing that Illus could be saving. It looks like Illus is trying to check off all the boxes. Is the ice rod here? Is it not? There's just so much of this routing that just there are so many right decisions that could be the wrong ones at the same time. Just a little bit of run back. We did not. The flippers that we are looking for are hiding in the first chest of Turtle Rock. And he has not, and Illus has not checked the magic batch, so they're going to get cursed with their $20 and then hopefully find their way over, taking the purple chest, and that's the ice rod. This swings back in the other direction. There's just so much to keep track of right now.
Illus's best hope right now is one of these overworld checks hiding the ice rod, since that'll be about the only way to make up any of this time with Zelga's early flipper find in T-Rock.
It's interesting to see, because this is one of the more meta decisions you see for you're going through, okay, I'm thinking my opponent's going to go the higher percentage play ahead to Turtle Rock. If I take the low percent and it turns out ahead, I've just shoved myself into the lead, and I've spoiled Zelga's chances of facing Elminster for that tiebreaker race. As we're making our way through Swamp Palace, we have not yet found the ice rod. And Illus grabs their Dark Portal. They are going to go ahead and check the shovel spot. We know it's nothing. It really comes down to, is this purple chest where our ice rod has been hiding since the very start of this game? It was available so much earlier. And if that is the case, it comes down to 2 really early unlocked locations were left abandoned and could have sped up this seed so much faster. 2 more checks for zelgadissan, and we have the compass and the red rupee. Has either of our...
found the map yet?
I don't know, but Cat bring up a good point. Someone's been inside Spectacle Rock, correct?
Yeah, we got a hint from there.
Okay, I just couldn't remember if we went in there. Alright, here's the moment of truth for Illus. We're mirroring over. Gary, what have you been holding on to for us all this seed? That's 5 rupees! The ice rod has to be here in Swamp Palace now.
It could be in T-Rock.
Or the Bombos tablet. Hold our sword aloft to the sky. We open Ember Book, and the prize falls down to find 5 rupees.
Oh, these 5 rupees are trolling me. I see that hint of blue, and I think, oh, it could be the ice rod, but alas.
And zelgadissan takes down Argus, and we have a heart container. We still need to open up that big chest. That's the Pendant of Wisdom. And Ice Rod is either in the Swamp Palace big chest or it's in Turtle Rock.
Wow, what a wild hunt.
This race is insane. If nothing else, as we make through some recursive checks, I mean, get on through, give these runners a follow. They are putting on one heck of just a back and forth slobber knocker of a race for us.
We are forgetting, it could be in Tile Room.
And of course, yes, Ganon's Tower Tile Room could have this ice rod. There's just so much of this available. Now, if you're Illus here, do you make the gamble? Now, do you make the gamble of ice rod being in here?
I think you need to, given that you checked all the overworld first. I think you have to take the gamble that Itrod is in here. You are gonna have to climb up the mountain twice. Well, no, you can save and quit and be at the top of the pyramid. So never mind.
There is a lot of just if Illus takes their flippers and decides I'm just gonna go ahead further back, this could swing them back a little bit closer into this race because that means a go mode swamp palace.
That's right, and that could save a lot of time because you know Zelda is going to check every chest for the ice rod here in T-Rock.
All right, there's Illus's flippers, and they're continuing on, or not. They decided to dive out. No. All right, here is the big chest in Swampville. Oh, I still have to go actually pick up the big key in the left side of Swamp.
Yeah, this is probably gonna sink Illus since they're gonna be following right behind in Zelga's footsteps for the rest of this race. But lest we forget, there are still opportunity for execution mistakes. Illus and Zelga both need to finish strong.
And Illus has the silver arrows. Their Ganon fight is much easier. Though these are both well-talented runners, I don't foresee that being an issue. But it's so tight. And there is the big key for Zelda on the first side of the first chest on the left side Swamp. Let's open up the big chest and see what it's holding on to inside. As we crest an hour and 45 minutes into this all-dungeon seed that gave us everything so much in the beginning, we open the big chest to find the Arrow of Destiny! We're back into Turtle Rock, or we're into the tile room. This is insane.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. Zelda is going to do a couple of convenient overworld checks. I do wonder if they're going to try and finish all their overworld checks before TR. This is what Illus needs to get back in this race.
If he decides to check out these overworld locations, we're back to just about center, with Zelda having a little bit of a speed advantage, but this is just absolute insanity. As we pick up our burrito here, they're making their way through Swamp Palace. Zelda is already disappointed with their Bombos check. And they've headed back into the Dark World. They have a few more overworld locations to knock out. We still have to check Cave 45. They still need to turn in the purple chest. There's just so much available for this seed.
What a tough call this is. You know, you are the most item dense in T-Rock, and you can just finish it if the ice rod is there. But, you know, thoroughness or getting these one-off locations stuck in your head, getting that worry. Is there a wrong decision in Rando? Who's to really say? There are better probability checks, but each racer has to make their own decision.
All right, we're just coming down to one decision that could change the course of this game. We are still looking for the ice rod. It is either in Turtle Rock or it is hiding in the tile room, which both runners decided to abandon in Ganon's tower. This all hinges down, and looks like Zelga's going to go ahead and make their lumberjack check to find their 5 rupees. They still have to check the graveyard ledge. A skip of left side Swamp gamble from Illus could come up big. This was just a absolute insanity. We are down to the wire here, folks. Very few checks left to make of this game.
Bungie, let's remind our runners how we started off this scene. It was crazy. We had, of course, Uncle Assured Sword, but before we even got to Uncle, we had Moon Pearl in our house, and then Hammer right next to the chest beside Uncle.
And then we found the Fire Rod. After that, we found both lift upgrades in Kakariko Village. And then we had access to the World Ice Rod Cave, had the hook shot, though both of our runners decided to abandon that until about 45 minutes in.
Flute was on the bottle vendor. You could just activate it immediately in Kakariko. And of course, it's all going to come down to an Ice Rod hunt. And it's something else.
And the Mimic Cave item is known to be some cash, so that is useless. There is so many. We had so much of the world available to us right away. The Lantern was hiding in Tower of Hera. there's just so much of this was available so early, yet because of the decisions our runners made, nigh identical decisions. Here we are, an hour and 50 minutes in, and we're looking for an ice rod, which could still be hiding in Ganon's tower in the tile room. Both of our runners decided, I'm not doing this. I'm last locationing this if that's where it is. Alright, here is Illus's Argus fight. Going for the grab and slash strats. Pretty standard, just quick and clean and easy. And there's the Graveyard Ledge for zelgadissan. And they are heading up the mountain. This really comes down. And so that means both our runners both have the silver arrows. So there's no longer that advantage for Illus. It's really going to come down to execution as both, or if Illus decides to abandon the left side swamp here. We know that he knows that it is the big key and some cash. There's still an item left in the pool here the single arrow is what's in that big chest. And if he's counting his items, he knows that there is an item there. He's going back in.
Unfortunately, with this check, it seems to be going to be too big of a time gap for Illus to catch up, but never can tell what is going on in the minds of these runners, so we'll see how it plays out.
It's going to come down to the next decisions here. Does someone decide to go tile room, or do they go into Turtle Rock? Where's the ice rod hiding? It also could come down to a glitch in execution. You take a fall on Ganon, and that could be the raid. We are so close to the end here, and so far. As a reminder, what this race means: Illus is out of contention for brackets. zelgadissan has to win this race to force a tiebreaker with Elminster RTA to make themselves into the bracket stage. Zelda has a lot more on the line than Illus does. Illus is playing for pride and to play spoiler. If both of these runners were in the top 96 of the of all the racers of A Link to the Past randomizer, out of the 200 plus that entered in our qualifying stage, our next two chests in Turtle Rock are Small Key and Small Key. We're going deeper.
Yeah, and as pointed out by chat, true cruelty would be Shroom here in Turtle Rock.
That's right, the mushroom is still missing. Out of our unique item pool, we're only missing the ice rod and the mushroom. We are nearing full completion of A Link to the Past here on this all dungeon seed, just because of the way that our runners decided to route things, and the way that this seed has left itself to just burying that ice rod deeper than anybody wants to find it.
Alright, so question. This is purely hypothetical. You find mushroom before Laser Bridge. You go portal out and check it first.
You would be able to preserve your portal at the Laser Bridge. So you walk out, flute out, and you can drop back down onto it. Unless I'm wrong.
You go through and check Laser Bridge.
I'm definitely wrong.
Aha!
Oh, that's right. Aga 1 is dead. That changes the way things work.
Thank you for the clarification, chat.
Alright, we're heading deeper into Turtle Rock because Illus is going to head over to the big chest and find their arrow destiny and potentially feel behind. Though they're looking in SRL and they do not see a dot done yet, there is so much available. And apparently it is preservable. After this race, I'm gonna look out and see how that portal preservation works so I can be right in the future.
Yeah, we're learning some things today, aren't we, Bungie?
It is a trick that is not often seen. And Illus is checking the Hylia Island that they have not checked yet. We know it's 20
in the hobo.
We haven't been hobo yet.
Uh-oh.
We're an hour and 54 minutes in, and we have not checked the hobo. How could I have forgotten this? Probably the same reason that zelgadissan has forgotten this. All right. We've been waiting for the flippers in there. Do we have the logical double dip of Turtle Rock here? Illus, what is your friend the hobo holding on to today? Just some bombs.
Oh, I saw the blue once again.
Oh, that I have been standing here casting for the last half hour. I am just beyond excited for where this race ends. I hope you at home are on the edge of your seats too, because we are heading down to the wire here. Just a few checks left in Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower yet. The tile room specifically. Illus says, go ahead and check their shovel spot. They have not done so yet. So all they have left is Turtle Rock. Or tile room. We're heading up. No, wait. Why are you... Wait, did we miss a check in Ice
Waterfall
Palace?
Ferry.
Waterfall Ferry. Crossing off the boxes here. Illus makes their way through Laser Bridge. Still no Ice Rod yet. If it's not here in this last chest of the Laser Bridge, it's got to be on Illus's side. We're gonna get simultaneous checks for the.
Oh my
That's the Ice Rod. That's the Ice Rod, and there's the mushroom for zelgadissan. We know the Ice Rod's in Pyramid Ferry. 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 47 seconds in. Illus is in go mode.
Whoa!
What is this seed?
What a call by Illus to not go back into T-Rock. Finish all those locations. Wow.
The gamble comes up huge here. Zelgadissan is ascending the mountain. I think they're thinking tile room.
Oh my goodness, Bungie. What has happened this race? This has been incredible.
To think that those flippers hiding in Turtle... So what we have here is a logical double dip of Turtle Rock. You have to go into the first chest, grab the flippers, and go and swim your way into the Waterfall Ferry. Something that we could have... And also, there was no... I mean, this could have been sequence broken a long time ago if our runners decided to, but both of our runners took pretty tight to the logic, except for a lantern, a few dark rooms they decided to enter into. Illus has a go mode Turtle Rock in front of them. We know the big key is early in the Chain Chomp room, so this is going to be a quick Turtle Rock for Illus. As Zelgadissan is heading over to do tie room, and we will be very disappointed that they still have overworld checks to complete before they find the Ice Rod.
Oh, my heart goes out to Zelga here.
This is just an insane race.
But Illus has performed beautifully.
No, this is definitely one of the best races I have had the honor of calling, and definitely one of the most exciting I have ever witnessed.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, and you know, Pearl was in Link's house, so we had fake flipper check into Waterfall Ferry available as early as, 8 minutes in.
It's interesting to see how this item, which could have been available to us out of logic so early, has come in to be the crux of our position. There is a piece of heart in tile room. Zelgadissan still needs to make their way to the Waterfall Ferry. They're going to mirror out, and they're going to have to go through the entirety of Turtle Rock again, as they do no longer have their portal. Phoenix Wright returns to the light world and grabs their flute, where I hope for their sake, they're heading either to 8 or to 2. They're heading to 2, turning in our mushroom. So what was our mushroom? It's got to be it has to be junk at this point, either hearts or money. And that's $300. He's gonna flute his way out. Probably gonna flute to 8 so he can swim. No, he's gonna walk it. Decides after activating the flute that was the bet. That is the faster routing. It's a real close meta decision. A little more interesting, made by the overworld changes because Aga 1 is dead. Alright, Zelgadissan is going to make their way into the waterfall and discover that they've made the wrong decision. Perhaps. Though their opponent could have made the same decision, and that's 1 hour, 59 minutes, 23 seconds. That's Zelgadissan's go mode.
Oh, this is still really close now. I mean, Illus does have a head start. They are in Turtle Rock already, but Zelda has cleared out everything in Turtle Rock.
But he will still have to make his way slowly through to the back of the dungeon. Illus there's nothing stopping the way. They don't have to go to the vanilla Big Key location. They're just going straight back.
That is true. There's going to be a significant time difference, but you gotta execute to the very end.
Both of our runners have silvers. They both have tempered sword. They have the same amount of hearts. I believe they may have the same amount of safety. I think Illus is still holding onto a blue potion. I don't know what potions Zelda has in their inventory. We are equipped the same. The big difference is Illus found the ice rod first and is halfway through Turtle Rock already. And Zelda is making just a small bit of a mistake there going through that door twice. They will have to visit Laser Bridge and find the small key. It's on the front side of the Laser Bridge, at least in the first two. There's their small key. They're heading to Trinex. They're going into Trinex on 2.5 hearts, blue potion in hand.
Yep, Zelda just now getting into T-Rock. I have to feel like he feels this race is slipping away from him.
As we get a really nice cane dash there from Illus. No, he unfortunately his portal was not still there. He chose to enter Ganon's tower, which put him back in the Dark World, eliminating his portal. Illus is heading into Trinex. I'd imagine at this point you're going for the safe strats. Five, quick and clean, easy executed. Unfortunately does not cancel the ice. Has to watch out for the big head here. 3.5 hearts. Down goes the fire head, dashing across, avoiding the main head, setting himself up for the quick kill. Gets the double hit. One more tempered sword swing. Down goes Trinex, and we're heading to Ganon. We are just a save and quit away from dropping into the Ganon fight. He will come in with a full health refill.
Illus really clutching it there with this Trinex fight. He is cruising on to Ganon. Let's see the big pig.
We are just a save and quit away from facing the King of Bacon himself. Zelgadissan is about a minute behind. This could come down to a fall. Ganon execution here. We are at 10 hearts, blue mail, silver arrows, tempered sword. We have the best equipment we can hope to find coming into the Ganon fight. And we learned just a little bit of slugfacts as we learned just how insane Randomizer can be.
Hashtag slugfacts.
You get a nice spin set up there for Illus. Gonna go ahead and try to make his way through the end of phase 2 of the Ganon fight. Picks up his hook shot to avoid those fireballs. Looks like he set himself up for a nice, quick, and early phase 3. Teleports are locked between the runners. Did not get quite enough swings in there to get through a phase 3, but they will start it next. Note that the amount of teleports are RNG locked between our two runners, so Zelda will have to face the exact same fight as they have gone for the fast strats on Trinex and just barely misses the 0 cycle, which you cannot accomplish without the butter sword. We are on to phase 3 for Illus. Zelgadissan has slain Trinex. We are seconds behind each other. As the pig teleports more, we are 3/4 of the way through phase 3. There is our final swing to send us into the final phase of the fight. We found the island. Did we find the light arrows? We absolutely did. 1 arrow. And there is the torch glitch setup, and that looks to be a double, almost a triple for Illus there. One more fire, one more silver arrow, and the big pig is down. Get your GGs in chat here. The 1x3 bridge climb is all that separates Illus from a victory and a massive upset, sending Zelgadissan out of the bracket stage, clinching it for Elminster RTA. And he has crossed the bridge. Congratulations to Illus, who has finished with an official SRL time of... Where'd I lose it? 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds. GG's to Illus. That was insane.
What a race by Illus. Oh, man. We've been treated to a nice race today.
I dare say that is one of the best races I have ever watched.
I think Zelda may have fallen off after giving a GG to Illus there.
I believe so, yes. Just a little bit of quick cleanup here.
Bungie, this is why we race the races, man. We had looked like a big underdog coming into this race today. Looked like Zelda, given their record, was gonna come in and make a tiebreaker, but Illus, playing spoiler, good execution, made the right calls. That's what it takes to win a rando race.
No, absolutely. As we just go ahead and we have to clean up Zelga's Ganon fight, I want to try to get both of these guys in here at the same time, but we have already been joined by Illus. Illus, holy crap, GG to you.
GG.
That was one of the tightest, most insane races I think most of us have witnessed in a very long time. Except for yesterday. Well, there was a tie yesterday, but coming down to that final decision, was it definitely a conscious decision to cross off the overworld before checking Turtle Rock?
Definitely. I wanted, I figured that I would have lost if it was in the Waterfall Ferry, but that I would have lost even more if it was in Turtle Rock. I made a conscious decision like 10 minutes ago that I absolutely did not want to go further in Turtle Rock, so yeah, Waterfall Ferry was the choice then.
No, absolutely, and it turned out to be a great choice indeed. Going back to Ganon's Tower, why did you decide to abandon the tile room?
I had a ton of checks left, and what could be in there was basically only the Ice Rod, because I fake flippered to Ice Palace, so since the chances were really, really low, I did not want to bother with that chest.
Alright, and as we go through, we can now say that Zelgadissan has finished in second place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 2 seconds. They absolutely deserve their GGs in chat. Please give it up for them. This was a race for the ages. And we are now joined by Zelgadissan in the Discord. GGs to you.
Hey, GGs, thank you.
That was my mind is still blown. I haven't sat down for 45 minutes. This was just absolute insanity. All right, I want to start with Illus. I'm going to get both of your guys' call on this one. The decision to fake Flipper into Ice Palace. Illus, why was that the choice you made?
Because I was aware that we could access GT, and there's usually something in GT. Like, I had a vague premonition already that flippers were in Turtle Rock, so I did want to speed this up by fake flipper.
Alright, and Zelgadissan, same to you.
Basically the same answer. By the time I had gotten there, I had basically narrowed down the flippers to a few one-off locations or Turtle Rock. And they're always in Turtle Rock, so because you're always going to have to go up there for something stupid. So I just figured, well, let's just fake flipper, and hopefully I can find like an ice rod in Ganon's Tower, and then I don't have to worry about double dipping it.
All right, then harkening back to Ganon's Tower is Zelda, the decision to abandon Tile Room.
Yeah, so that decision was right before that chest is when I got the mirror, because I did the whole full right side, then full left, and that got me the key so I could get the mirror from the big chest. I almost did Tile Room right then. I think I even went towards the steps, but I decided that the mirror unlocked so many locations that the chances were a lot higher that it wasn't in Tile Room.
You did. I saw you did go right for a second before you headed up the tower.
Yeah, so it's just a decision that I knew that like mirror, ice rod could both be in Ganon's Tower, and I got the mirror. So it just seemed natural to think, well, it could be here, it could be upstairs, but it's also very likely behind this.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, for example, I fully cleared Swamp despite not being a real fan of it, because you had to take that mirror advantage and try to win through this, because usually you'd think that if it's in Waterfall Ferry or if it's in Turtle Rock, you've already lost.
Exactly. That's why I put off the whole Zora area for obviously an hour and 45, hour 50 minutes, whatever it was, just because I figured there's no way Illus hasn't done this by now. So if it's there, I've already lost.
My
And
thoughts
I guess,
exactly.
yeah. So it seems like all three of these races have been really close between us. So it seems like we're always kind of on the same wavelength. So maybe I should just start trusting my instinct and say that, okay, if I think this is a good play, he's going to do it too.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it.
No, that definitely there's a lot of weight to that statement. After watching your race yesterday, just coming in within a minute of each other, and here we are, just potentially a minute with each other, barring a few execution errors on Ganon, which I think was just from absolute exhaustion from just how brutal this scene, the ending of the scene is. I want to flip back to the beginning. When we're going through our escape sequence, we've got Hammer, we've got Fire Rod, going to go into Kakariko Village. We have lifts, we have the flute. Illus, how did you feel about how the way this thing started?
I thought that it was really nice because you could just go through a whole loop of the Dark World and clear most of the things, but it wasn't like here's all but one Go Mode item and you've got 200 locations for it and go look for it. It was not the case like that, but it was like a pretty open world, but not quite, so I liked it.
Alright, Zelda, same to you.
Yeah, similar. Like, by the time I left Kakariko, I had access to, like, I could full clear Thieves Town, I could full clear Skull Woods, I could theoretically full clear Eastern Palace if I just didn't care about the Dark Rooms. I could full clear Palace of Darkness. You had so much stuff that you were kind of forced, well, not forced, but the route was just leading you to dungeon upon dungeon upon dungeon, so we might as well just be doing that and get absolutely nothing for it.
Harkening into the early game with that instant Moon Pearl, was there just a conscious decision to just decide not to fake Flipper early, which could have gotten you that Ice Rod so much sooner? Starting with Illus?
I thought a bit about fake flippering, but my early game route was different than usual. I went for Agina first, so I isolated that location for a bit. And by the time I got back there, I did not want to fake flipper because I had the hookshot. And the hookshot led to the boots and other stuff, so I wanted to do that rather than fake flip.
Go ahead, Zelda.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, when I got to the Ice Rod Cave and got the hookshot, the literal next thing I was about to do was fake flipper to Waterfall Ferry. But because you got the hookshot and we had the hint about where the boots were that opened up all of Death Mountain, it's like, there's so much stuff, I might as well be doing that instead. But lesson learned.
Well, I mean, following the logic, it's the correct call. It's just the potential for a sequence break, which could have swung this race to a much different picture to where it had been. I mean, everyone had the ability to go pick up that hook shot so much sooner. Everyone had the ability to pick up the Ice Rod so much sooner. It's just, it goes to just how, just playing with the logic and deciding to stay in or go out. Both of you sequence broke through the Palace of Darkness in Eastern, which is a pretty standard play. The lantern turns up in Hera. I mean, this was just insane. Now, I want to go back and kind of, this is the end of the tournament for you, Zelda. How do you feel with this last race deciding to keep you in or out?
I'm perfectly fine with this because this is kind of like a microcosm of Rando as a whole. I mean, there were so many decisions that you could make. There's so many things that you feel like are the right play. And there's always just going to be these one or two little things that always throws a wrench in it. And I mean, that's what keeps the game exciting. Obviously, this could have been exciting in a way, like we had like an hour and a half done time because we fake flippered. But by the same token, I mean, this is just how the game is. And overall, I mean, obviously I'm sad that I'm losing here, but I'm very happy with my results in the tournament as a whole. I ended up with a winning record against 4 of the 5 people in my group, and this is an amazing group, so I don't take that for granted at all. So overall, I'm very happy with how this turned out, even if I don't get a chance to continue the rivalry with Elminster.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm just gonna pop in here real fast. Thank you guys both for such a great race. Let's speak about Group N for just a second. It looks like with this result, Zelga, you will not be continuing on to brackets, but can I get both of your opinions on Dracarys and Elminster and their chances in the bracket stage? Tell me about those opponents and what you saw from them in your group matches. Let's go back to Zelga first.
For me, I would say I've had some experience racing Elminster before. He's an amazing runner that he's got a ton of NMG experience behind his rando experience, so it takes a lot to out-execute him and out-route him. He's got all that knowledge behind him. So, I mean, he's going to be a tough out in the tournament regardless of who he gets placed against. And kind of the same for Dracarys. I hadn't raced him that often before this. I'd actually raced him more in Ocarina of Time rando than I had in Link to the Past. But he consistently whoops me in both. So he's very talented, and I would fully expect him to be able to take a couple names out, if not more.
Illus, anything from you to add about the representatives from Group N into the bracket stage?
Yeah, for me it's kind of the other way around. I've played Dracarys quite a lot, and Elminster not so much. Or quite a bit, but not that much. And I can definitely say that they both have what it takes to go through the groups. Like Dracarys, the scrub, lost to me in the German tournament, and lately it feels like he picked up his game, so that he's really hard to beat. So I can imagine him going far. I don't really know about Elminster, but he can do really well. Like probably even in higher difficulty modes. He's really excited for that, and maybe he can turn out to be one of those expert seed players that do really well with that. Let's see.
All right, and going through into your tournament, Illus, I want to ask you about this is the end for you. How did you feel you performed?
My score is not good. Like I'm not happy with my score, but I'm not unhappy with my performances. Like basically all of my races were really close. Like all of my losses were really close. I lost to like one single thing every time, and it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, as I said, I did do well, and you wouldn't think that this was a race between someone who's 8-5 and someone who was 4-8 or something, or 4-9.
Well, that is... Yeah, go ahead.
You guys committed yourselves very well in this race. I do want to tip my hat to you. And, you know, Bungie, I'm going to let you take it from here. But I just want to say thank you guys again, and GG's to both of you.
I'll give each of you one last word and a send-off for the end of your tournament. Starting with Illus.
GG, it was really fun. I had tons of fun in this tournament. And later on there will be my last match actually, and then it will be over. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. Thank you guys, and thank you for the restream.
Yeah, I'll just second a lot of that. Thank you guys for the commentary, the restream, the tracking. It's all really appreciated. It's a very important part of the tourney to try and get hype up and get the crowd involved. GG's again to Illus. All 3 of our races were insanely close, and looking forward to some more in the future. And thanks for having me.
All right, and thanks to both of you. I want to give a huge shout out to my co-commentator Hagmania, and to our tracker Phantom Black Ice, and our restreamer Michael K. I'm going to go ahead and send us toward the end of this broadcast. Coming in just about half an hour, stay tuned. We have an excellent Key Sanity race here between Pika Pals and Zyrak. There's also a little bit more action down the line here. If you look on us to Speed Gaming 4, you will find an all dungeons open randomizer hard retro between JP and Chloe Prower. as well, and that is at 6:30 Eastern, 8:30 Eastern. We will see on Speed Gaming 5 Aaron Dobby versus Vivi, their final race, and those are two tightly contested runners. So please, if you, as we get toward the end of the this broadcast, please give a follow to the Link to the Past Randomizer and the Link to the Past Randomizer 2 through 5. Check out the Link to the Past Randomizer Discord. There's still a lot of tournament. The brackets to the group stage ends on Wednesday, and then we head on into the brackets. There's a lot of randomizer left in this excellent tournament. I am Bungie to the Tree. Good day and good rando.